Welcome to The Explainer. So, today we're diving into an incredibly fascinating textual investigation. We're going to challenge a centuries-old theological belief, and we're doing it using pure, hard linguistic evidence. For the longest time, mainstream discussions around destiny have just been totally dominated by this idea that every single human life is entirely pre-scripted. Like, your whole story is already written. But today, we're looking closely at analysis that seriously pushes back against that idea. Instead, it proposes a universe of unbroken rules, sure, but with genuine, real-time human agency.
So here is our roadmap. First, we'll look at the predestination paradox. Then we decode the preserved tablet, explore the matrix of cosmic laws, examine how you are actually writing your own record, and finally, we'll compare two completely incompatible paradigms. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the predestination paradox. This brings us face to face with a glaring philosophical problem about predetermined destiny. Think about it. If a person's exact destiny, whether they end up in the bliss of paradise or the absolute agony of hell, was permanently etched into some immovable celestial tablet way before they were even born, we've got to ask a really difficult question. How on earth can they be held morally accountable? I mean, how can a creator be absolutely just, send all these warnings, and then hold people accountable if human existence is essentially just a theatrical replay of a script written eons ago? It just doesn't add up, right? The source material argues that this fatalistic dilemma is a massive contradiction. And to resolve it, this analysis suggests we actually need to step outside of medieval scholastic debates and instead look closely at how the text defines its very own vocabulary. That brings us to Section 2, decoding the preserved tablet. To solve this kind of locked room mystery, the source text treats the vocabulary like a giant puzzle just waiting to be decoded. And what's super fascinating here is that the exact Arabic phrase, Lawḥ Maḥfūẓ, literally only appears once in the entire text. The quote reads, "Nay, it is a glorious Quran in a preserved tablet." Now, pay close attention to what is explicitly identified as residing in this preserved state. It's the Quran itself, the revelation. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say this tablet holds an inventory of your daily sins or some pre-assigned VIP tickets to heaven or hell. Nope. It holds the inviolable blueprint of divine guidance and universal laws. To really get to the bottom of this, the author uses an incredible linguistic method called tasrif. Basically, it's cross-referencing the text's own vocabulary, so it essentially explains itself. Let's break down these roots mechanically, almost like we're cracking a secret code together. So the root LWH appears in contexts like the physical tablets of Moses or the interlocking planks of Noah's Ark. Across the board, it consistently means a structured medium or an interlocking stability that manifests reality. Then, on the flip side, we have the root ha, fa, za. This one relates heavily to inviolable protection and maintains structural integrity, kind of like protecting the cosmic ceiling. So when you put these two roots together, it creates a highly, highly specific concept. This phrase absolutely does not mean some giant diary of predetermined fates where your entire life is being micromanaged from afar. Not at all. Actually, scratch that. It's more like an incorruptible blueprint. It is the unshakable, completely unalterable realm of ultimate truth from which all genuine revelation proceeds. It's there to guarantee absolute structural integrity and immunity from corruption for the universal laws, not to micromanage your individual daily choices. Moving on to Section 3, the matrix of cosmic laws. Okay, so if the tablet isn't a script for our daily lives, how does the overarching architecture of reality actually function? Well, the source brilliantly illustrates this using what we could call a video game physics engine analogy. Just think about a massive open-world game for a second. The universe operates on fixed, programmed rules. The ultimate foundation is the al-Kitab, or the mother of the record, literally the timeless matrix of ultimate truth. And flowing directly from that, you have the immutable system laws. We're talking the fixed rules of physics, biology, cause and effect. Gravity works the exact same way every single time you drop an apple. But step 3 is where we come in, real-time human agency. The cosmic architecture and the rules of the whole game are completely fixed by the creator, but the active player's choices within that arena, those are entirely their own. Now, fatalistic arguments often point to verses that mention a kitab or a decreed record, especially when it comes to things like human lifespans. But here's the catch. When the text mentions a decreed record regarding lifespans, it is actually just outlining fixed biological boundaries.
The kitab refers to the immutable laws governing biology, our natural cycles, and our finite limits. It's a biological decree that every human life eventually has an end. It is definitely not some arbitrary decree forcing you to make a specific moral choice on a random Tuesday afternoon.
Which brings us to Section 4, writing your own record. So let's examine exactly where our individual actions fit into this grand matrix. The text repeatedly, and I mean repeatedly, refutes the fatalistic belief that our moral destinations are pre-written. Just look at the incredibly active language used in Surah Al-Jathiyah. Indeed, we were actively transcribing what you were doing. The specific Arabic word used here is nastansikhu, which literally translates to actively transcribing or registering things in sequence. Guys, this is a massive linguistic clue. It absolutely proves that accountability is based on the real-time logging of human agency. The system doesn't force your hand at all. It just simply records what your hand chooses to do, exactly as you're doing it.
And that leads us directly to the ultimate outcome of all this real-time logging. The source text states that every single human has their own unique trajectory bound to their neck. And on the day of resurrection, they are told, read your own record. Think about the weight of that. An individual is not passively reading some ancient script that was authored before time even began. No way. They are reading the unrolled log of their own conscious decisions. Ultimately, you are the author of the very book you're going to be asked to read. And finally, Section 5, 2 incompatible paradigms. This brings us to the grand finale of the author's argument. This is where we finally reconcile divine omniscience with genuine human responsibility. Looking at these two concepts side by side, you can immediately see this stark contrast between two totally different ways of viewing existence. Over in the traditional fatalism camp, the claim is that humans are just passive actors replaying an absolutely unavoidable script. In this view, the record essentially forces the outcome. But hold on, doesn't that completely nullify the whole point of warnings, divine guidance, and justice? I mean, why warn someone if they literally cannot change their course? But then look at the other side. The linguistic analysis, the hermeneutics derived directly from the text itself, champions system omniscience combined with genuine real-world agency. The creator knows all possibilities and has fixed the rules of the system, absolutely. Choosing alignment leads to a positive trajectory, while choosing deviation leads to constriction. But the actual choice, that trajectory, it belongs entirely to you. It is real-time logging, and that is what preserves absolute justice. The conclusion drawn from the source material here is just incredibly empowering. The preserved tablet safeguards the timeless truth of revelation and the eternal physical laws of our existence. But it absolutely does not lock you into a pre-condemned box. So I want to leave you with this really provocative thought from our explainer today. Think about it. If your ultimate outcome isn't a foregone conclusion that's just been forced upon you, what are you writing into your record right now, atom by atom? Your fate is a living record, and it's being written by your choices today. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this truly fascinating shift in perspective. Keep learning, keep questioning everything, and I will catch you in the next explainer.